So in today's video, we're going to talk about when to buy your first weekend league teams. So just before the video does start, a quick little ad on a trading service I offer over on Twitch. For the cheapest premium trading service for just £4, €4, or free with Amazon Prime. You'll get yourself daily trading and investing guides covering both Xbox and PlayStation with an array of different techniques depending on your budget. I've been trading for over 10 years, making over 100 million on multiple titles, and recently making over 10 million in the first month for the last 3 years. So in today's video, what we're going to do is talk about when you guys should go and buy your weekend league teams, basically looking at last year's trends, this year's trends, and how they're practically the exact same, making it quite easy. So far this FIFA has been relatively easy because all the trends are kind of following themselves. We've seen rises at the beginning of FIFA, we've seen rises with the Ultimate Edition, we've seen drops going one day into the full release, we saw a nice drop today which we saw last year. So as a result, it is pretty one for one. So what happened last year buying their Ultimate teams? Now, or the weekend league teams. So the weekend league teams is, or the first weekend league, sorry, it's going to be this Friday. Obviously this Friday is going to be the 7th. Now last year the first Friday was the 8th, so what we can do is we can use the 8th to show, I guess, how cards did going into weekend league. Now there are two different sorts of cards. You've got 50k cards. Now the reason that 50k cards are one of the sets is because 50k cards, or cards 50k and below, indicate cards that are being packed more than they're demanded. So something 50k and below is very, very easy. Let's go, for example, here's a nice cheap card. Let's go the likes of Coleman. Coleman is nice and easy to pack in comparison to cards that are 100k. And as a result, what happens is the longer we go, the cheaper Coleman gets. Because what's basically happening at the moment, and I guess we can go and get ourselves a nice little paint graph, is boom, boom, right? So Coleman's supply is going up and up and up, right? Well, imagine this is happening. And right now, and again, this isn't a supply and demand, and right now he's got as much demand as the supply. What's eventually going to happen, right, is he's going to start getting supplied more than he's demanded. So this would indicate the first 4 days, right? First 4 days, he keeps rising and rising and rising in price because there's more demand than the supply. But then what eventually happens is there starts being more supply than demand, which means the price goes down in price. Let's say, for example, PlayStation makes 10,000 PlayStations, and there's 20,000 people who want PlayStations. So loads more people want the PlayStations than PlayStations exist, so they go up. Well, let's say PlayStation make another 30,000 PlayStations. Well, now there's, 30,000 PlayStations, but only, another 10,000 people who want them. But now that there's not that many people on the PlayStations, they can be nice and cheap because, there's so many PlayStations for people. And that's basically what happens here. When there's more of something than is demanded, it goes down in price. And Coleman, and again, for cards 50k and below, are symbolic of that. Now, what is these guys' trends? Not very fun, because in reality, you cannot buy these cards. I'm trying to find the example right now. You cannot buy these cards without losing coins. These are not cards that you can go and use in the first weekend league and finish your weekend league and not lose coins on. So a really good example last year is Eder Militao. Eder Militao last year was about 50k, so he is going to go and fit our example perfectly. So Eder Militao, and we can even go and grab someone from last year who went and followed the same trend, if I'm not wrong. We can go and grab who was about 50k this year. I guess we can go and grab the likes of Coleman, actually. So Eder Militao is about 50k. Coleman is also about 50k. And so far, they follow the same trends. Now, obviously, the web app came out a little bit early, so you kind of got to follow this trend onwards. And what this trend is this was the Ultimate Edition release last year, 26th. This is the Ultimate Edition release this year, the 26th. We can see that there was a very sharp rise between the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th, or a rise. This year, we see a rise between the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th. After about the 28th, he did plateau for a day, but then he started dropping. Well, this year you can see that the card didn't really the card didn't really rise much, and then it started dropping. And you can also then see that there's been a really big drop today. We saw the exact same thing right there, where there was a really big drop that day, from 46 to 40. So far the trends have been very, very similar. And what does that mean for the future of Coleman? Well, if we move a little bit along this graph, we can see that he just kept dropping and dropping and dropping till the Sunday Monday. Now, the reason I believe he kept dropping until the Sunday Monday is because basically Sunday we got the full release of the one to watches. If you guys don't know, so far we've got ourselves, I think, about 14 one to watches. But we're going to go and get ourselves another 3 one-to-watches on the likes of Sunday. And as a result, there'll be packs open for these one-to-watches because they're Renato, Berwin and De Ligt. Most importantly, Renato Sanchez. So, as a result, loads of packs are open on the Sunday. Anyone who's maybe saved packs has opened them on the Sunday. And players seem to bottom out on a Sunday. So, you can basically buy your players on a Sunday and Monday if they're under 50k. But the problem is, as soon as Weekend League hits, these cards drop. Now, the reason that these cards drop is because the following Friday, so the Friday that Weekend League starts, is Team 2 of the promo. Or even worse this year, this FIFA Road to the Knockout stage. Now, one to watch, I think we can all agree, gets pretty boring pretty fast. Yes, it's a card, it's not upgraded from the Skull card, not amazing. Well, in FIFA 23, this FIFA, next Friday, aka the first Friday Weekend League starts, we're getting, as I say, Road to the Knockout stage, which are very well demanded cards that can drop the market. So, the reality is, if you have cards under 50k that are being packed more than they're demanded, you cannot use these cards without losing coins. And there isn't a madly optimal time to buy them. Because, again, Friday hits, and again, I'd imagine this trend, but even harder, because Road to the Finals are way more demanded than one-to-watch teams do. On the Thursday to Friday, you drop 3k. Friday to Saturday, drop 3k. Saturday to Sunday, drop 3k. And I think you see the exact same thing with cards that are 50k. So the reality is, when's the buy time? Friday maybe on a low fluctuation, but you can't use these cards without losing coins. So sadly, that's not great. Now, luckily, we will go into what cards you can buy without losing coins. But yeah, so buy time on these. You can buy them Sunday, use them all the way through to Thursday, and you're not really looking at losing any coins. If you do want to use them for Weekend League, maybe try and buy them Friday about 7-8 PM, and that is a time when you'll probably lose the least amount of coins. But ramp your Weekend League up fast. You know, every day you're not finishing Weekend League, it's costing you 3k per 50k player. So that's going to cost you 30k or 33k every single day if you've got a team full of 50k players. But luckily there is something you can do. Because obviously cards under 50k, supplied more than demanded. But what about cards over 50k? More importantly, cards that are 100k. Or so on. So cards that are 100k, let's not use Edinburgh Town because that'll make it a little bit confusing for you guys. Let's use like some Mendy. So cards that are around about 100k, luckily, don't really drop when the game's out. And I can go and use, I guess, Mendy's card from last year. And the reason for this is these cards aren't being packed as much as they're demanded. Which means that, like I was talking about the PlayStations, you know, let's say 10,000 PlayStations are made and 20,000 people want them. More PlayStations than people, the price goes up. That's literally what happened in real life. Well, what basically happens is 10,000 PlayStations are made, 10,000 people want them. Equal price. Another 10,000 PlayStations are made, only 10,000 people want them. Boom, equal price. So the card neither rises nor drops because the card isn't, you know, like there's only 10,000 being packed every time, not 30,000 packed because he's double, triple as hard to pack as a Coleman. So, let's go and have a look at his thing. So again, this was the first Weekend League. Now it wasn't again amazing to hold, but you can see it's a lot better. So what happened here with Mendy is we've got the Friday, again, cards drops on the Friday. Saturday, cards drop on the Saturday. Sunday, 1:15. Monday, 1:15. So I'd look at buying 7 PM on the Sunday. We then see the cards rise during the week. We didn't see this happen with Eder Militao. We saw him just plateau more. So he then rises during the week and then drops Thursday, Friday, which is what we saw with Eder Militao. What we didn't see with Eder Militao is when people were getting their weekly coins Friday onwards, they weren't buying Eder Militao's, not to the rate of which he was being packed. Whereas Mendy, because people weren't packing him, but what they're doing is they're using his weekly rewards to buy him. It was a nice safe buy. Because basically he was so demanded that everyone used their weekly coins to buy him, and he actually went up in price. So even if they go down, they go up. Again, we do expect a bigger drop because Road to the Knockout stages should be more demanded than one-to-watches, but nonetheless I expect the same sort of thing. So, what does this mean? Well, you can't use cards under 50k without losing coins, but you can use cards over, I'd say about 100k, or give or take around about the 100k mark. So, these players are going to be, if we can go and grab them, you should be able to use the likes of Mbappe, Neymar, Ronaldo, Vinicius Jr., Messi, Salah. Haaland obviously out packs. Well, you can't really use Haaland because he'll go back in packs, so can't use him. Can't use Mane. De Bruyne, N'Golo, Son, Van Dijk, Nkunku, Militao. Can't use Rudiger. Walker, Cancelo, Koulibaly, Dembele, Goretzka, Mendy, Tomori, Theo Hernandez, De Jong, say at that point you're kind of starting to get to the midpoint. You know, these players, maybe you don't go and lose all your coins, but they've got a lower chance because, again, the cheaper the player, the more they're being packed, the more they're being supplied to the demand. So first set of players you can get away with using are cards that are about 70, 80k and above. Again, you're looking to buy these once again on Sunday after 6 PM. The second set of cards you can go and use, which is pretty nice, is Team of the Week 1s and 2s. So these cards obviously aren't being packed, so they're not being packed, but they are being demanded. They normally hold or rise. So the players you could get away with using would be Immobile, Deulofeu, Saliba, you know, some relatively good cards out there. Valverde, be careful with POCM. Son, and that's from Team of the Week 1. And obviously you can go and use Team of the Week 2 as well, which are the likes of, you know, Havertz is decent, you've got yourself Kanji, Salah, Lozano, and these cards, or Marquinhos, you should be able to use and not lose coins on. Now, like I said earlier, promo next Friday when Weekend League is, being a thing, is Road to the Knockout Stages. Road to the Knockout Stages normally aren't too bad of cards. I think, actually, Coman was a Road to the Knockout Stage, if I'm not wrong, 1 year. So I can show you the calibre of what these cards are. He was one that year. Now, obviously, that was early game, but if I'm not wrong, I'll be able to grab the team right here. Perfect. Yeah, I guess you can't see what the early level of these cards were, but these cards were relatively demanded cards, and, you know, it was early game. We got, like, Dembele's, we got Coman's, Mane was really well demanded, Kante, Eder Militao, and even, again, the early versions of these cards were still quite expensive. So, what you've got to watch out for if you are getting Team Week 2s is, let's say I go and get, who's the most expensive? Salah. But then they go and drop Mahrez. And let's say, you know, but it was a better version, right? Like, you know, that Mahrez would suck. Basically, you got to watch out because people would go and sell the Salah to go and buy the Mahrez, and, you know, vice versa. If we go and maybe, I don't know, you went and bought a Kanji from this week and we got Joe Gomez, like, people would be selling their players to go and use these new Road to the Knockout Stages. So you do have to be careful of that. So probably try and stay on top of leaks. I'll make sure to cover the leaks and all that malarkey. So Team Week 2 players are nice and safe, but be careful. And on the topic of Road to the Knockout Stages, they're your third sort of cards you can use. Gold cards that are going to go out of packs for Road to the Knockout Stages. Obviously, if you wanted to go and use N'Golo Kante, Kante's not going to drop. Actually, Kante would have been 100k plus anyway. Let's say he would have been under 100k. Maybe Eder Militao or Dembele. Let's say Dembele was about 70k. Dembele's going to be nice and safe because he's not in packs for a week. So, would be a nice safe player to use over Weekend League. Would have nothing to worry about. Happy days. So, Road to the Knockout Stages that get leaked is another set. And your final set is basically heroes and icons over 700k. Stuff that's about 300, 400k, ropey. Stuff that's 200k, very ropey. But icons and heroes that are around about 700k and above, especially stuff from Million, you're looking nice and safe. Reason for this, we go back to the supply versus demand. The amount of Yaya Toures that are being supplied is nowhere near compared to the amount that are being demanded. The amount of even middle Sedorfs that are being supplied isn't anywhere near the demand. So you've got 700k heroes and icons. If you want to buy them, solid. When to buy time on those cards literally doesn't actually matter. They don't even drop much between now and Sunday because they are such rare cards. So really just looking for a decent deal. Maybe look for after a 6 PM promos is what I'd say if you're looking at heroes and icons. And I think that's probably all she wrote, really. Obviously, you've got pre-Team Week 3 as well. Obviously, if people, let's say if Goretzka had a great performance, then we wouldn't expect his gold card going out of packs, because obviously he'd be out of packs as of Wednesday until the following Wednesday. So that would be the last set of players. But I think that's all she wrote. I do stream 13 hours a day, so do feel free to go and harass me on what players to go and buy. We've probably made about 2 million coins so far as well, so the trading's going all well. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a new video.